right, so welcome everybody. This is Micah Mitchell, and we have another Memberium client walkthrough. We're actually talking with Michael Hunter and Jeremy. And so real quick, Michael, are you guys partners on the company?
Yeah. Jeremy and I have a marketing company called Paper Plane, and we have a software product called Spiffy. Jeremy is the coder and the genius behind the technology, and so he built Spiffy. And so basically what Spiffy is it's Infusionsoft mobile optimized, responsive, and conversion optimized order forms. So it's something that has been long awaited for the Infusionsoft community, and we finally decided to put something together.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about you guys. So what were you doing before you made, the company and started with Spiffy and all that?
Yeah, so both Jeremy and I have a background in online marketing and building websites. So we both actually had our own marketing companies, and a little over a year ago decided to basically merge both of our brands into a single company. And we're both doing the same thing. We're doing websites, product launches, marketing automation, overall marketing strategy, increasing profitability for authors, speakers, and coaches. So we both were serving the same niche, and we both just hit it off and decided that we could move further, go further, and move faster, and have a lot more fun working together. So this past year, we've been working with some really, really awesome clients, doing some big promotions for best-selling authors, speakers, coaches, and just getting really great results for our clients. But doing everything in Infusionsoft, and we've been customizing order forms for like 5 or 6 years for Infusionsoft. And we finally just got to a point where we're like, shoot, like this is not fun customizing order forms for all these different clients all the time. It's not an effective use of our time. It's something that's heavily needed. So how can we productize this thing? And we actually discovered that Memberium was a perfect way to kind of house and create a SaaS application to take a product to market. So we started hitting the ground running with productizing our software here, Spiffy, and using Memberium to power the back end of it.
Yeah, so you guys are in the same position as a lot of people starting a membership site, like doing some sort of service or some sort of one-off work. And a lot of times they're trying to take up the information that they were offering to people, like consultancy and whatever, and package it into an info product. And that's what's really interesting about what you guys did, and why I'm kind of excited to be on the call today is this is the software that you're using a membership site to deploy. So doing it as a service, now you're deploying it this way. So mobile optimized order forms, let's kind of start there and just, talk a little bit about why that is so important. And then we'll go into how you actually did it with Memberium, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. So as we know, actually more and more traffic is coming from mobile devices these days, with smartphones getting faster, with tablets becoming more popular, and data on phones, LTE, just the speed of accessing information on the internet is becoming faster and faster. So this year in 2015, we just got stats that over 50% of all e-commerce traffic is coming from mobile devices. And over a third of all e-commerce purchases are coming from mobile devices. So it's absolutely essential that you're not only just your website, not just only your landing pages, not just only your lead registration forms, your squeeze pages, not just your website, but the entire purchase experience has a great customer experience to it. So that's one of the things that Jeremy and I realized, kind of being a product of the online marketing industry. Both of us have been in this industry for, I've been in this industry for 6 years. Jeremy, how long? I mean, I know you've been in the industry for 10 years. So just like I said, being a product of the industry, we realized that the order form was like one of the things that nobody was really doing a really great job at, and was one of the most important, components of the sales process. it's like the zero moment of truth. You can spend all the time in the world making your website look great. You can spend all the time in the world making your sales copy look great, and have all the different psychology points in your sales copy. But if they ultimately get to an order form that looks like it was built by some guy that's 40 years old, living in his parents' basement, like kind of siphoning money off the internet, if it looks like sketchy, basically, people end up not purchasing. So we really just kind of took the initiative to create a product for Infusionsoft users that made their order form look as good as the rest of the website, and just make that whole flow optimized for mobile purchases because of how much traffic and how many purchases are taking place from mobile devices these days.
Oh, that's perfect. I mean, you did offend our key demographic, which is 40-year-old dudes sitting in their parents' basement, but I totally got you.
Yeah.
So when you went to deploy this, and like give us the high level. So when we talk about deploying this through Memberium, without getting terribly technical, we'll get into the technical in a minute. Tell me, what is it that you're doing? When we talk about an order form, it's not a hosted order form. Like, you don't control it, right? But you're helping people customize their Infusionsoft hosted order forms?
Correct. Jeremy, I'll let you speak to a little bit more of the technical side and how Spiffy is working with Infusionsoft and that.
Yeah, so basically, Memberium, I'll kind of back up just a little bit, but Memberium allowed us to integrate with Infusionsoft and honestly have a good portion of a SaaS company already built for us. A SaaS company, you're typically custom building your onboarding process and your follow-up emails and all that stuff. But instead of building it ourselves, we said, okay, we're going to take Memberium and we're going to use Infusionsoft and kind of have it already built for us. We just integrate the two with using Memberium. And then on the Spiffy side, basically they're just setting some settings, and all this stuff is stored in Infusionsoft using Memberium, and then it sends it off to their order form through a one piece of code that they put on their order forms. And so that's essentially how it works in an oversimplified version.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you talk about, a SaaS having to build the interface and all that, I think that's how most people feel, and how we feel too about when we rolled out Memberium. It was, we can design a whole system from scratch, but we're going to be recreating a lot of the work WordPress has already done, add a page, edit a page, list the pages, search, and all that. So you just kind of took that a step further and said, instead of, making all of that and making the whole login, log out and everything, we just kind of hijack a membership site and use that as the interface to deploy, their ability to come in and manage their stuff, their forms and their account, right?
Exactly.
Cool. So as far as the user experience goes, you're here, I think, Michael, logged in as a regular user. Can you kind of show me through what they would do in the back end?
Yeah, absolutely. So once you log into your Spiffy account, you basically come to this dashboard that has the list of all of your Spiffy order forms. So you can see here we have 3 order forms already created. Up here at the top right, you can add a new page. And again, this is all WordPress. It's gated, through WordPress, a WordPress login and through Memberium. So it's all tied back into Infusionsoft. So you just click Add New, and we literally just fill out this little form here. All of these fields tie back into the Spiffy database and ultimately creates a Spiffy code. This literally takes a minute to fill out. That's kind of our claim to fame is get mobile responsive, mobile and conversion optimized order forms in less than 55 seconds. But just to save a minute, we'll just go to one that's already created. Upload your browser icon, and then you just get your form code, and you copy and paste this right into your Infusionsoft order form. So it's really, really simple. I don't have an Infusionsoft order form up right here. Let me see here. I'm pulling it up over here.
While you're doing that, I'll just kind of mention to people, if you're using Infusionsoft and you go and you make a web form, it'll give you that JavaScript option where you then put the JavaScript on your page. And that way, as you make updates to the web form, they automatically reflect on your page. I believe you guys, Michael, are doing the same thing, right? Like once you've generated and put that on the page, they can go in your system and edit the form without having to go mess with code again. Is that right? Correct.
Yeah. So it's JavaScript, like you said, it's dynamic, so that any changes that you make to this form right here, you don't need to re-copy and paste the code. you come down here, you grab the Spiffy code. It's dynamic, so it's JavaScript. So you just copy that, and then you just paste it right into the custom HTML area of your order form. And you can place it in any box. We just like to place it up here in the header. You hit save, and this is an Infusionsoft order form right here. I'll zoom in a little bit so that you can see it. Let's zoomed out a little bit. So this is an Infusionsoft order form. As you can see here up in the URL, it's still the Infusionsoft order form. You can see up here the favicons pulling through, Course Accelerator VIP registration, which is one of the settings we had back here. Course Accelerator VIP registration is pulling in the meta title up there in the tab. And then down here, your terms, privacies, and disclaimers link pulls through. A lot of people don't know this, but Infusionsoft order forms aren't FTC compliant out of the box because they don't have a link to terms, privacies, disclaimers, and contact information at the bottom of the page. So you have to custom code it in no matter what. A lot of people don't know that they need to have it. A lot of people don't know how to code it. And when when you're an entrepreneur and a small business owner, you have a million things on your plate. It's something that usually falls through the cracks. So literally copy and paste it right in Spiffy, and we do all the hard work for you. You're just calling out that it's a secure transaction. So there's a few of the things that we do to just make this page, make the order form, just give it a professional feel, build a little bit about our confidence, and make it compliant.
So I'm guessing real quick that you've got the two columns, the left and the right. And if I go to that on a phone, the right column is just going to fall into the left column. So that's the mobile optimized approach, right?
Correct. So it's a little bit hard to do. I mean, mobile responsive will show you, it obviously fits the screen on your phone. But mobile optimized, it's a little bit harder to show you right here. But basically, when you select the phone field or you select the credit card field, instead of getting a keyboard with all of the letters, we actually your phone will actually present you with a keypad. So it'll only have digits.
Nice.
I can show you another example of a different order form here. 1 second. I think this is it. Yeah. So here's an order form that has payment options. So instead of having little radio icons for payment options, you have two big buttons that you can press to select the payment options. So those are just a couple of the things that we've done to optimize the design for a mobile checkout experience. It's not just about fitting the screen. It's about ease of use. It's about just making that checkout experience as streamlined and as simple as possible for the end user.
Yeah, that is awesome. And we recently did an event back in October, and Craig Jacobson was there talking about mobile first and really cramming that home. It was funny because I was like, yeah, mobile, whatnot. And I'm not a big phone person, so I'm probably the worst kind of, the last person to hold out. But by the end of it, I was just like totally floored by how much I was missing in that area, especially because it's not just optimizing it for mobile. What he was talking about, and he had all this data on, when you optimize for mobile, you actually increase conversions on desktop as well, because the same simplification, the same ease of use and all this actually, makes the desktop experience better too. So I'm sure it's, not just mobile optimized, but optimized in general. I love the layout and the look and feel of that.
Right. It's just clean. It's minimalistic. It's modern. Looks like it was designed in 2016. So like you said, you simplify it for the mobile checkout experience, and a lot of that translates and is still true on the desktop as well to making that checkout process as efficient and streamlined as possible. Absolutely, 100%.
Very cool. So let's talk about how you do this. And I'm guessing when you were doing this custom, you would end up putting a whole bunch of code inside their actual Infusionsoft order form. Is that right?
Yes. So, back in the day before we actually built Spiffy, we basically just put a whole slew of code in here, and that would basically do all of it. And if we want to change something, Jeremy and I both know HTML and CSS and JavaScript, so we could go in there and we could make changes on our own. But our clients, if they wanted to make changes, now they have to depend on us, or they have to hire a different coder or developer. And so it was just one of those things where we realized that we were spending a lot of time on it. And one, it's not something that we really enjoy doing. And two, there really wasn't another awesome solution out there. that made it easy for our clients to manage. Because there's Fuse forms out there and other things are code builders, but at the end of the day, we use that, it helps us, but our clients can't use it because they don't know code. So we're like, okay, how do we productize this? How do we make this so simple that anybody can do it? You don't have to be tech savvy. And I heard stories of other people that were like outsourcing order forms, custom order forms for like $1,200, $1,500 to a developer, paying them $1,500 just to custom design an order form for Infusionsoft for them. I'm just like, that's insane too. Like, there's no reason why anybody should be paying $1,500 just to have an order form design. But Infusionsoft, the way they have their order forms built, they're really hard to navigate. They're hard to customize. There's a lot of funky stuff going on with them. And so Jeremy's wizardry, overcame a lot of that. I feel like we've done something with Infusionsoft that a lot of people didn't even think was possible. And a lot of that has to do with, honestly, with Memberium, giving us a huge jump start, allowing us to focus our development on actually fixing the order form rather than having to build out all of the crazy back-end, SAAS application type stuff. So that gave us a huge jump start, and I think really cut a lot of the obstacles out of the way for us when it came to creating Spiffy.
Cool. So let's talk about how you're doing this on the back end. So you showed us an interface, and the user logs in, and all that's in Infusionsoft. But then the variables they put in per form, those are going into your own database. Those aren't Infusionsoft custom fields or anything, I'm assuming, right?
That's correct. So the field, so here's the hurdle, and this is probably getting a bit technical, but users can add as many order forms as possible. So the issue is custom fields in Infusionsoft aren't dynamic. So we can't have like order form title 1, order form title 2 for each of their order forms. So what the order forms actually are in WordPress are custom post types with just post meta, basically is the technical terms in WordPress speak. So it's all features that are native to WordPress, which is what's storing all the order form details and all that stuff.
Cool. And just for anybody who's watching this who runs a regular membership site, I just want to mention that membership sites and selling information is great. I would encourage you, if you can, to build tools for your clients, though, because you're going to have a longer, relationship with that client. Their pain of disconnect and that sort of thing with software is much, much higher. And it positions you differently even than the other info marketing competitors. So don't just think, oh, this software thing's not for me. Try to maybe stretch it a little bit and think, okay, well, what could I maybe supply to my clients? And what he's talking about here, this is really valuable information for you to give to a developer, to have a developer check out on your behalf and to understand, oh, we can have a custom post type. We can feed fields into it that the user supplies and then use that to create something. They're using this to deploy custom code for Infusionsoft order forms, but you could use it for a lot of other things. So this is actually pretty cool. And we are getting a little nerdy, but that's okay. So tell me, when you talk about the custom post types and that, I think you had mentioned you're using some of Memberium's hooks and filters and stuff. Tell me, what you're using there and any tips for somebody who might try to come through and do something similar. Yeah,
so the primary thing that we're using Memberium for is user authentication. And there's a couple areas that need to be authenticated. One is when they log in, obviously, to edit their order forms. But the other one is, hey, if they stop paying, if they let their a card expire or something like that, we need to be able to say, okay, let's cut off their order form access. So we're not still serving up their order forms even though they're not a paying customer. So we're actually using Memberium to authenticate the order forms when they're loaded on the user's order forms in Infusionsoft. So there's like all these two different areas of authentication that Memberium's running through. And that's kind of the core of what it's being used for. Does that answer your question, Micah?
Yeah, it does. So tell me more about that. So when their payment doesn't go through, are you managing that via Memberium with tags? Like, if you find they have a payment failure, you don't let the forms load, or how do you manage that?
Yeah, so it is driven through tags. So all of the logic is in Infusionsoft. We're collecting the payments in Infusionsoft. We actually do onboarding emails through Infusionsoft, which is really nice. I mean, we can kind of just keep it in one system. And then Memberium goes and reads Infusionsoft and says, all right, this person doesn't have an active account. So let's pull over this, basically we have a custom field in Infusionsoft that says active or inactive. So if it's active, Memberium will pull it over and unlock access to their login, and it'll unlock access to their order forms when people go to their order forms.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a two-step authentication process. So one, it's checking for this tag right here. Right now we have it named Spiffy Beta because we just rolled out a beta. So anybody that has this tag, it allows them to log in and access their account. Now, as Jeremy mentioned, we have the active and inactive custom field that's set with an active subscription. So if they're up to date and they're current on their subscription, the custom field is set to active. And if they're inactive or they cancel their account or whatnot, then it moves to inactive. And what that does is that basically unlocks the account. So you have the ability to log in and access. So that's Memberium, right? So, and then we also have, with the Memberium hook, we have it so that they can't access their order forms, they can't edit their order forms or whatnot if their custom field is set to inactive. So there's kind of like two checks and balances there. And then if they're inactive, they come to and they end up logging in. They come to a page that kind of notifies them that says, "Hey, your subscription's inactive. Click here to update your payment options or whatnot." So it's kind of have a whole system built in there to basically reduce customer service requests and have people keep their credit card information up to date without having us to manually input it.
Gotcha. So you're doing that with Memberium, I'm guessing. When they go to update their credit card, they do that through the Memberium shortcode?
Yes.
Yep.
Nice. So question for you, and this is, I'm kind of curious, but I think everyone else would be curious too. So you talked about if they have a payment failure, you don't allow them to edit their forms. Do their forms still work for a period of time in case that was like an innocent payment failure? They didn't mean to not pay you, or how do you manage that?
Yeah, we have a grace period, and we'll send out notifications. Hey, your payments didn't go through, and before we cancel their account or whatnot, we'd reach out to them by phone and stuff like that. So we have tasks set up in Infusionsoft to notify us and whatnot. But basically, if they stop paying, we'll switch their account to inactive, which means they can still log in, but they can't access any of their forms, and it prompts them to contact customer support or update their payment information on their own. And we have a 45-day grace period there or something like that. And then after that, they can, basically what will happen is we'll basically deactivate their entire account after 45 days.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, because I know for us, providing software is different than membership. Like if you cut off somebody's membership access, they're like, oh, fine, I'll update my payment info. But with software, you can't just quite cut them off, interrupt their user's experience because you're dealing with their clients or you're in that mix. So that makes sense. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what are your guys' plans for the future with this, if you can speak to that?
Yeah, so next steps, we're actually just started development on a drag and drop builder. So right now, Spiffy is 100% built for Infusionsoft. And our goal is eventually to build a drag and drop builder that allows you to add more custom, basically allow non-techie people to add more customization to their order form. So actually in here in Spiffy, when you're editing your order form, instead of just seeing these few options here, you'd actually see a whole drag and drop form builder type thing that would still export that code and still work the same way, but you just have a little bit more control over the visual design of the order form. And then we want to build out the Stripe integration for Infusionsoft so that small business owners can process payments through Stripe, because Stripe only really requires that the credit card information, expiration date, and the CVV code on the back. So we can, for digital products, like, and especially if you're never going to ship anything, Infusionsoft requires a billing address, and you can't remove fields, you can't add custom fields to the order form. So there's certain limitations to the Infusionsoft order forms that we can't work around. There's no way around it. So there are further things that we want to do to streamline the checkout process for mobile devices. That once we get off of Infusionsoft, we can implement those things. And then our big thing is building out the API integration through Stripe, so that all of the payment data gets sent back into Infusionsoft, so that all of your payment data is all in one place. All of your all of your sales, you can issue Stripe refunds through the Infusionsoft dashboard, and so you don't have multi-system chaos, and you're not having to pull from two different systems or two different merchant accounts for reporting and things of that nature. So that's where we're really, really excited about it. And yeah.
No, I'm excited about that too, actually, because we get requests for, how to connect Stripe to Infusionsoft quite a bit, actually. And so we'd love to send them over your way as soon as you're ready with that.
Sweet. That'd be awesome.
So this is kind of unique for us, just because most of these membership showcases we've done, it's someone who's doing a membership site, but where you guys actually also work with Infusionsoft users and have been, I'd imagine, consulting on order pages and funnels and all that. What's maybe some advice that you'd give to some of the people watching who are that type of best-selling author or speaker or coach or whatever? What would you tell them that they need to do with their order forms, with their sales funnel?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the biggest thing, and it's something that Jeremy and I see all the time, is that people try to overcomplicate their entire online business, from the course to the funnel to the website. Ultimately, it's not about how fancy your marketing funnel is or how much crazy automation and how many segments your funnel has. It really just comes down to building a really solid funnel, getting your messaging down to a really powerful message, getting your emails, really understanding who you're building your course for, hopefully before you build it, but especially when you get to the marketing of your course, being able to speak to your customer in a way that resonates with them on a deeper level. It's one of the biggest mistakes that we see there. A lot of people, Jeremy, actually, you coined this phrase, and I'll let you kind of give your answer to the question too in a second. Basically, Jeremy coined the phrase being active procrastination. And it's basically doing a lot of work that makes you feel like you're making progress, but ultimately you're doing things that really aren't adding that much value. So set up a funnel. Spend most of your time on the messaging, not on how fancy your marketing funnel is, and just start adding value out there in the marketplace. So don't be afraid of picking up the phone and having conversations with your customers and with your target market.
That's beautiful. And so, Jeremy, I want to hear more about this active procrastination. But yeah, I think that's a fantastic answer, Michael. I'd second that all the way. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I think running with the whole simplicity message, it really, people do overcomplicate, and we oftentimes will get people coming to us saying, hey, I need help, doing this, and this in our funnels. And at the end of the day, they're multiplying pennies. You don't need a non-click strategy when you only have 3 people going through the funnel. Simplify, figure out how to speak better to your audience, because we see our clients generating $2, $3, $4 million every single month when they're not doing these crazy tactics. And I feel like people are getting a little bit distracted with chasing tactics and the new shiny thing of the month, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't want to offend anyone here. So if this was you and you're watching, not meant to be offensive, but
no,
we get people coming too, and they'll say, yeah, I want to set up these 12 membership levels and I want to have all these funnels and all this. It's like, well, so do any do any of those work? Do you have any of that done? No, but I know I'm going to need, 12 of them. It's just like, okay, slow down, because you're going to spend 6 months making 12 order funnels and structuring and all this other stuff when they don't have the messaging for number one done, or they haven't built one or whatever. So
exactly.
Yeah. I think one of the big things that Jeremy and I actually do is it actually help people design their courses as well. With all the messaging, everything that we just talked about, it's actually a topic that we talk about with our clients every single day. And something that Jeremy and I have seen, especially recently within the last year or two, is that when you're building a course, it's not just about your direct competition in your industry. You're literally competing with every other online course. A lot of times people think about competition as, I'm building a health membership site. So, like Jillian Michaels has a health membership site, and JJ Virgin has a health membership site. So those are my competition. I need to figure out how I can position myself, against them in a way. And really, like when you're in this online education space, you're competing with everyone. The human mind only has so much brain power and we can only learn so many things. And so when you're building an online course, you not only have to make the case against why your course is the best course on your topic, but why your course is the next course that a customer should learn, and why they should learn from you, and why your course is the next course they need to pick up. So it's actually a pretty interesting time that we're in, because information is at our fingertips, from our cell phones, and it's only going to become more and more. I guess there's just going to be more and more noise. So it's really, really important that you have your messaging down, and that you're really focusing your course on a specific topic to get a result. Going back to what you were saying, Mike, about people having 12 different modules, there's a point of diminishing returns where more content isn't more value. And at the end of the day, you're building a course to get a result for a client. And at the end of the day, the pricing of your course and how much you charge for your course is based on how valuable that result that you can help your client get. So one of the things that I like to say is, if you can help someone achieve a result, and that result is worth $10,000 to your customer, and you can teach someone how to get that $10,000 result in 2 hours, you can easily charge $5,000 for an online course, and your course could literally be 2 hours long, and you could have 2 modules. You don't need to have that 12 module course. So a lot of people, they try to think that in order to compete with the Brendan Burchards and the TR Veckers and the all other people out there just crushing it online, that they have to have a course that has more information. And at the end of the day, more information isn't better. More information is more friction. It's more overwhelm. It's more complication. It's more, you have to sift through more information to get to the good stuff. So just speaking to keeping it simple, it's absolutely incredibly important to keep everything simple. Trim the fat from your marketing, trim the fat from your course, and just make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, I love that, because what a lot of people, so I'm glad you brought up a couple things. One, that it's not just the competition. You can see it's everybody. And it goes also for, they have a choice of what to do with their time, but also for user experience. I was reading a book, and it talked about how Disney didn't really see their competition as other theme parks or other, movie studios or whatever, but everybody, because when they pick up the phone, the person's comparing them with the last phone call they had, regardless of industry or product or whatever. How good is that? And so I think in membership sites, you might look at your competition, but the person just came off of Netflix or lynda.com or something, and they're used to an experience. And so I agree that the messaging, and the result and all these things are definitely, where they need to focus. And then once they've got that down, understanding that you're not, even if your nearest competitor has a terrible user experience, you should really be benchmarking yourself against better user experiences. And we run into this making software too. Looking at our immediate competition is like, we can do better here or do better there. But looking at the wider world of competition, there are some really slick, easy to use softwares, and kind of not positioning against them, but using them as the benchmark is starting to make a lot more sense. And I think membership site owners could understand, it depends on their level, because if it's your first site ever, don't try to be Netflix. But if you're trying to improve, definitely look outside your industry at the best user experiences.
Right. And using Netflix, like using their design style, using their, how easy it is to navigate on the site, using a lot of those principles. That's what, Jeremy did with Spiffy. Jeremy, why don't you speak to kind of the design of Spiffy and kind of the user experience there?
Sure. The big thing was we just wanted to keep it ultra simple. I mean, just nothing, basically. So we tried to automate as much as we could and really give not very many options, especially, I guess, coming from a SaaS perspective. You want to get it out sooner, get the minimum viable product and things of that nature. So we didn't wait till we had like this drag and drop wizard thing to build your order forms. We just wanted to get it out and get some results sooner. And that's also reigns true with courses and membership sites. You just got to get it out sooner, get results sooner, because you're going to get feedback and you internally are going to learn what works, what wows your customers, and kind of, I guess, what you can cut and what you can keep. And for us, there was quite a few things that were like, okay, we absolutely need to have this in Spiffy, but we probably don't need this in Spiffy. We got a lot of requests for a terms and conditions checkbox. Well, we didn't get it enough to actually build it into the product yet. But what we did is we actually created a code snippet and we give it out to people if they need it and things of that nature. So it's very important to start sooner, get results sooner. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here based off of the UI, but really keep it simple and start sooner.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Beautiful. I love it. I'm sure we could, go around and around where you guys are marketing people. We could just keep going, but let's wrap it up. So anything else, any kind of last thoughts for somebody who's going to try and come in and do something similar? So, most people know they can build a membership site, but somebody who wants to build a tool or a SaaS or something along those lines, using kind of Memberium or a membership site as a base, any other advice you'd give them?
No, I think that's really it. I think Memberium really does, between Memberium and Infusionsoft, because they are basically tied together, they do all the heavy lifting. We didn't have to build some custom portal for customer support. We didn't have to build some automated onboarding campaigns. We didn't have to custom build really anything except for the product itself, which is the order forms. The UI, it's very, very simple. So we didn't put a lot of time into it, but the actual infrastructure that Memberium and Infusionsoft handles was basically built for us. So, I mean, that's huge value. If you're looking to build a SaaS product and you're using Infusionsoft, definitely get Memberium.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much, Michael and Jeremy. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. See you guys.
See ya.
Take care.